Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to my next video and next reading session. Today you listen to The Allegory of the Cave by Plato. And yeah, let's continue. And our guardian is both warrior and philosopher, certainly. Then this is a kind of knowledge which legislation may fitly prescribe, and we must endeavor to persuade those who are to be the principal men of our state to go and learn arithmetic, not as amateurs, but they must carry on this study until they see the nature of numbers with the mind only, nor again like merchants or retail traders with a view of to buying or selling, but for the sake of their military use and of the soul herself. And because this will be the easiest way for her to pass from becoming to truth and being. That is excellent, he said. Yes, I said, and now having spoken of it, I must add how charming the science is, and in how many ways it conduces to our desired end, if pursued in the spirit of a philosopher and not of a shopkeeper. How do you mean? I mean, as I was saying, that arithmetic has a very great and elevating effect, compelling the soul to reason about abstract number and rebelling against the introduction of visible or tangible objects into the argument. You know how steadily the masters of the art repel and ridicule anyone who attempts to divide absolute unity when he is calculating, and if you divide, they multiply. Meaning either that they integrate the number because they deny the possibility of fractions, or the second, that division is regarded by them and as a process of multiplication, for the fractions of one continue to be units, taking care that one shall continue one and not become lost in fractions. That is very true. Now suppose a person were to say to them, "Oh, my friends, what are these wonderful numbers about which you are reasoning, in which, as you say, there is a unity such as you demand, and each unit is equal, invariable, and indivisible, that what would they answer?" They would answer, as I should conceive, that they were speaking of those numbers which can only be realized in thought. Then you see that this knowledge may be truly called necessary, necessitating, as it clearly does, the use of the pure intelligence in the attainment of pure truth. Yes, that is a marked characteristic of wit. And have you further observed that those who have a natural talent for calculation are generally quick at every other kind of knowledge, and even the dual, if they have had an arithmetical training, although they may derive no other advantage from it, always become much quicker than they would otherwise have been. Very true, I said. And indeed, You will not easily find a more difficult study, and not many as difficult. You will not. And for all these reasons, arithmetic is a kind of knowledge in which the best natures should be trained and which must not be given up. I agree. Let this then be made one of our subjects of education, and next shall we inquire whether the kindred science also concerns us. You mean geometry? Exactly so. Clearly, he said, we are concerned with that part of geometry which relates to war. For pitching a camp, or taking up a position, or closing or extending the lines of an army, or any other military maneuver, whether in actual battle or on a march, it will make all the difference whether a general is or is not a geometrician. Yes, I said, but for that purpose, a very little of either geometry or calculation will be enough. The question relates rather to the greater and more advanced part of geometry, whether that tends in any degree to make more easy the vision of the idea of good and theater. As I was saying, all things tend which compel the soul to turn her hates towards that place where is the full perfection is being, which she ought by all means to behold. True, he said. Then if geometry compels us to view being, it concerns us. If becoming only, it does not concern us. Yes, that is what we assert. Yet anybody who has the least acquaintance with geometry will not deny that such a conception of the science is in flat contradiction of the ordinary language of geometricians. How so? They have in view practice only, and are always speaking in a narrow and ridiculous manner of squaring and extending and applying and the like. They confuse the necessities of geometry with those of daily life, whereas knowledge is the real object of the whole science. Certainly, he said. Then must not a further admission be made? What admission? The knowledge at which geometry aims is knowledge of the eternal, and not of how anything perishing and transient. That, he replied, may be really allowed, and is true. Then, my noble friend, geometry will draw the soul towards truth, and create the spirit of philosophy, and raise up that which is now unhappily allowed to fall down. Nothing will be more likely to have such an effect. Then nothing should be more sternly laid down than that the inhabitants of your fair city should by all means learn geometry. Moreover, this science has indirect effects, which are not small. Of what kind? He said. There are the military advantages of which you spoke, I said, and in all departments of knowledge as experience proves, anyone who has studied geometry is infinitely quicker of apprehension than one who has not. Yes, indeed, he said, there is an infinite difference between them. Okay, guys, so thank you for joining me today on this video, and see you tomorrow on the next one. We're gonna continue.